You are listening to the audio version of Doctrine of Shadows by Douglas A. Gosselin, narrated by the author. Threshold, carried by many. Among the loose papers said to have been found in Bedford after John Jay's death in 1829 was a single page. It bore no seal. The hand resembled his, though certainty was impossible. The Republic was not carried by one. It was carried by many. A banker lent without promise of return. An enslaved man moved maps in silence. A mother buried her children and still lit her parlor for treaties. A courier walked into night and did not return. No names were entered, no monuments raised. Their courage was quiet, their loyalty unrecorded. What they held was silence. Silence preserved what speeches could not. Silence carried truths too fragile for the record. Silence endured until the nation could stand. This is not the story of one who saved the Republic. It is the record of those who refused to let it fall. Whether Jay wrote the words himself or whether they reached his papers from another hand remains uncertain. Some claim the phrasing belonged more to Charles Thomson, the Secretary of Congress who carried his own truths into silence. Others whispered it read as if composed by someone still deeper in the shadows, a hand that shaped but never signed. Prologue, New York, 1796. John Jay did not lift his gaze when the boys entered the study. "Peter, fetch your mother's candle and wait by the hearth." Peter nodded and left, boots whispering against the stone floor. John slipped the latch. The click carried in the room as rain hammered the panes. Cyrus approached the desk, ink smudges darkening his sleeves in the candlelight. Wax-sealed ledgers lay beside unfolded dispatches. Beneath a single flame, a strip of ciphered letters waited. John slid a magnifier forward. "Read this." As Cyrus reached for it, John's fingers paused on the leather spine of a ledger. The worn binding caught the light, rough where the gilt had long since rubbed away. It felt like another ledger in another city, 12 years earlier. That grain beneath his thumb was enough to summon it back. Philadelphia, 1784. The market square was slick from an early thaw. The cobblestones glazed to a faint shine. The air carried wet timber, baking bread, iron nails, horse sweat, and faintly, the brine from the river. Haim Salomon stepped from the counting house, the latch clicking behind him. His ledger was under one arm, his gloved hand set on its spine, as though it held more than accounts. 3 steps into the square, and they came. 3 young men, broad-shouldered, red-eyed from drink, their grins sharp as the frost underfoot. "Jewish banker, are you?" the tallest said, voice pitched to turn heads. "Counting coin for your king across the sea?" Salomon stopped. The cold rose on his breath. "Yes, I am Jewish, and I am a banker. Very astute." The smallest laughed, but glanced at the gathering bystanders. The tallest pressed closer. "And whose cause did you fatten with that gold?" Salomon let the pause grow until it thinned their confidence. "I lent to Congress, to your officers, to the cause you cheered in taverns while others bled for it." His eyes moved to the smallest, and to 2 men who, as I recall, spent the war abroad. Safe years, I imagine. The smirks drained. "When you drank your welcome home toast, gentlemen, my coin had already bought your safety, your bread, and your peace." From a shadowed gap between warehouses, Smith watched. Still as stone, his dark coat merged with the wall. The tallest man glanced over his shoulder without knowing why. A voice came from the crowd, a tradesman shifting a crate. "Careful, lads. That's the man who kept your army from starving. If wit were bread, you'd still be hungry." Laughter broke the tension. One of the young men spat. They turned away. Salomon's gaze swept the street, lingering a fraction too long on the shadow where Smith stood. Then he moved on. Under an archway, John Jay had been watching. As Smith stepped out, John fell in beside him. "I thought you were here to keep our banker from harm, not watch him stand alone." Smith's eyes stayed on Salomon's back. "He does not need my protection. Not today." Cyrus tapped John's shoulder, 3 quick knocks. "New York, 1796. YQRIH, shifted 4, Cyrus said. The tapping and the candlelight pulled John from the frost-lined streets of Philadelphia. The ledger under his hand was not Salomon's, but the memory clung. The sharp cut of truth in a public square and the quiet force it carried. The cipher's message weighed the same. Some words once spoken altered the Republic. Others, hidden in code, could do the same without ever being heard.